Right now you're mine, oh mine, giving your mine, oh mine. I love that you shake when I ravage your skin. It's so easy to bite with your hands pinned. Shadows dancing on the sheets. If you obey, I might give you a treat. Right now you're mine, oh mine, giving your mine, oh mine. You look so good there on your knees. Such a good girl, knows how to please. Look at me, look me in the eyes. Forget yourself, surrender your mind. Right now you're mine, oh mine, giving your mine, oh mine. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, filling up my coffee cup. One way to shake me up. I've never wanted to sleep. Oh, I won't forget. Memento mori leaves a debt. You haven't paid it yet. I never wanted to sleep. My brain was cynical. Inside this massive hole, and then it swallowed me. I never wanted to sleep. My suit stayed the same. Can't remember my own name. Inside the timeless cage, I never wanted to sleep. A muscled hound untied and bound, a wild beast crying for release. I want my mouth so I may howl and share with silence of the trees. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, filling up my coffee cup. One way to shake me up. I've never wanted to sleep. My bones became a drip. Now that I've had my sip, after a little taste, I never wanted to sleep.
All right. No, so I'm gonna explain this to you, okay? So first, just to keep if you're still here, this is Rule 34, okay? So this is Rule 34. This is just random music called Don't Speak, Just Listen, and it's random lo-fi. This is Fish in a Birdcage by Fish in a Birdcage. And this is Memento Mori by Fish in a Birdcage. So I'm not sure which one you were talking about, but there we go. Do you know which one you were talking about now? Yes, this one's good. Ah, this one, yeah. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? Y'all know me, I know you, but I have some things to talk about today. Kind of pointless things that only really matter to me, but I'm going to talk about it anyways, because that way I can feel justified in the actions I took. So, I've built additional scenes. So that now, when we're doing ASMR and we're doing gaming, I have two different volume levels, one for gaming and one for ASMR. So that will swap between those, so it's going to be a lot easier instead of just me having to do it randomly every single time. Yay! Anyways. Yeah, we're vibing in the dark. Fine. Right. So you just step back a little bit further. There you go. There you go. Come on. Keep going. Thank you. Oh, wait a second. Aha! Oh. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now we can focus. Right. So chat, stop moving. Echo, stop it. How am I supposed to focus with you? Hey. Stop it. Stop dancing. Stop it. I can't focus. If you're... Thank you, Echo. Okay. So... Okay. So anyways, new scenes to do audio so that we won't have any audio mess-ups with the ASMR. I also have a new secret that is a work in progress. Do you want to see the secret scene that's a work in progress? Hi, Flower. You ready? Here's the secret scene. It has two scenes. We have this scene. It has this scene. Do. You know what this is for? This is that I can put you all on trial. Yes, exactly. I don't know who I'm going to put on trial, but you see right now it says insert name here, so you can put anybody there. Yeah, should be solid. The one problem is there is no notifications on the screen currently. I will fix that. But currently it's just my mic and the random static screening. But yeah. Yes. Cool, right? Eventually. So how I'm going to have it work right now is that I'm going to put somebody in the section, and we can put people on trial. We can also put people that I've banned on trial. And then, we can all have deciding on random concepts, ideas, or people. Eventually, I will get code working that'll follow a random person in chat, and then I can put the person in chat on the stand, and when they type, it'll TTS. Is that working now? No, it is not, because that takes a lot of skill and knowledge to do. And I'm still learning Python, so list of things to do ever increases. Amazing, right? Anyway, so the other thing. Oh, there's now TTS. So yes. If you want to do TTS, it is a redeem that you can do. It costs 500 points. I'm probably going to put a limit on how many people can do it. Oh, well, I mean, the only time I'm going to do public banning on banning is if I have a bunch of, like, actual, like, people who are doing stupid stuff. Because, I mean, if a person has been banned, I put a lot of effort into warning them and telling them what not to do. And so if they request unban, they better have a good reason. But this will be significantly later, because right now we don't have any unban requests. I think the people I ban realize why I banned them and haven't tried to come back. Text to speech?
You damn puppy.
That is what it is. Could y'all hear that, by the way? How's the volume on that? Good?
Gene is a silly little puppy.
Yes. Well. Okay. So yeah, that is going to be a thing that's available for evening streams. It will not be available in morning streams, so a heads up, I will have to go through and manually disable it every time, which is going to suck. So I might limit it to how many voices there are. For now, there's a decent amount. And, what was the other thing?
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
Perfect. Amazing. But
Jaina is bestest villain.
Jane. How dare it?
Woof!
But understand, if it like gets overused, I'll probably put a limit on it, which, I mean, there's no such thing as overusing it. Use it as much as you want. If I have to limit the amount of times people can redeem it over a certain amount of time, then I will. But right now, it is going to be free, open, and easy to use. All right, sweeties. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, did a bunch of lore planning today. That was great. And,
Jena is bestest.
Oh, hi, Pombo. You can't hide forever? I can.
You can't hide forever.
I can. Okay, what was the other thing I was going to say, chat? My brain just shut off.
Thank you, Gene.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, no. My brain's gone. My brain is... This song turns my brain off. Every time I turn it on, my brain just goes, nope. No, no, no. No, no, no. No. Okay. So, yes. Today, gonna do... Dip.
Here is Brain Cell Gene.
Thank you. Thank you, Obama? What was that?
The law!
Oh, that's gonna get me. That's gonna get me. Yeah. I think eventually, so the plan though is if we ever get to the point where there's like so many people chatting, that's gonna give you a chance to gain my focus.
Get to the
versus,
chopper. Go now. Or don't see if I give a fudge.
So, yeah, the plan is if there ever gets to a point where there's too many chatters, where like it's going to be impossible for me to read every message, which it currently isn't, we have TTS. Okay? So I'm future-proofing. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Anything anybody wants to know? Oh, yeah, we planned out lore. The lore system is kind of figured out. I've been talking to a person to get a 2D model, and we'll see how that goes. And everything's great. Okay. Mwah. 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 Okay. And now we have first. Thank you, Echo, for getting first. Thank you, Honeydew, for getting stream check-in. Thank you, Boku, for getting second. And thank you, Honeydew, for getting third way later. Thank you for the check-in. Thank you for the check-in, Addy and Aiko and Skona. Thank you, Moss. Oh, sorry, Dwarf. Thank you, Naptime. Thank you, Full Metal Brookie. Thank you, Gangsta. Thank you, Ocean. Thank you, Gibbets. Thank you, anybody else who checked in, because now it's flooded by a bunch of other redeems. There we go. Mwah. Mwah. Okay. If your tongue hurts, please go take care of it. I know. Thank you, everybody who's checked in. Oh, and hello, Carmia. Cool. Oh, also, Poetry Redeem is going to be in the ASMR thing in the morning, and I've had a few books that have been given to me by an author to read on stream, so that's going to be fun. Anything. I think that should do all of it. That should do. That should do. Echo, you can dance now. Dance, Echo. Dance. Dance. No fire. Just dancing. You can dance. Unless I take you to court and immediately make you the first person in court to be tried for dancing. Oh, wrong screen. Don't worry. Don't look at. Don't look at this. Don't look at. Hey! Don't look here. No. Bad shit. Okay, there we go. Echo, you've been accused of dancing. How do you plea? How do you plea, Echo? Sorry. Here we go. Echo, speak. Tell me, why were you dancing, Echo? Tell me, Echo. Why were you dancing? This is important. I must know. Nuh-uh. No. What do you mean, nuh-uh? What do you mean, nuh-uh? That's not you can't use that as a defense. You don't say nuh-uh again. You can't say nuh-uh twice. Echo, no, bad Echo. This doesn't. How dare you? You can't just say nuh-uh. That's not how the course. What do you mean nuh-uh? Your Honor. We need a Phoenix Wrights. Yeah, horrible. Fine. Because I haven't, fought for the law long enough and I'm not a good judge, not guilty for dancing, but you were dancing. Plead just a silly little guy. This time I'll allow the defense. Silly little guy is a valid verdict. That is very solid. Yeah, court's adjourned. We're gonna go to the dungeon now. No, wrong spot. There we go.
So we were kissing sloppy styles.
I'm gonna lock the door because I heard that. I heard you were what? What were you doing? No, jail.
Good morning. Here's your daily positivity. You are amazing, cherished. We love you, and you can do anything. Gives Gene star in his hair.
That's adorable. I like this. This is great. Okay, this is the best. This is fantastic. This was needed. This was 100% needed for all of these stupid things. Okay? Now chat. I'm trusting you. We're going to be doing some gaming. Don't be going crazy with it in the gaming, okay? Make some gaming jokes. Talk to me. Point things out. But don't just be spamming
Gene
random.
doesn't know the cage actually doesn't have a back. Sneak out, y'all.
Excuse. What? No. Hey. What do you mean? What do you mean the cage doesn't have a back? I can't get around the cage. I'm gonna push it back up against the wall. But we're pushing it against the wall. That's why I had it pushed against the wall. I forgot I had to have it pushed. Okay. There we go. It's fine. I'll fix it next stream. Next stream it'll be fixed, but for now I have to keep it pushed against the wall, okay? Okay. No.
Guys, it is time to set the basement on fire. So please, everyone, get your torches ready.
No. We're leaving the basement. Anyways, oh God, there's two of me. I haven't fixed this part yet.
Too late, Gene. Me and Ricky are out of here.
Okay, well, this part hasn't been fixed yet, chat. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Well, we're just gonna. Anyways, Fire's downstairs. I don't gotta worry about that. I mean, what's the fire gonna come upstairs? That's crazy. Not happening, chat. It's good. It's fine. So,
No fire, be odd basement kiddos.
Exactly. Be-ud. Be-ud, chat. Chat, everybody, can we get a be-ud? Can we get a be-ud in chat? What was that? Oh, that got me. That got me, chat. That got me. Ah, perfect. Okay, anyways. Sorry, I just needed to make sure this game was set up and everything. They said Gibbets on...
They set Gibbets on fire again.
Who keeps setting Gibbets on fire? Gibbets, are you okay? Gibbets, are you all right?
Hey, Gene, what's your power level?
What's your power level? What's your power level? Anyways, Gibbets, are you live?
Me.
Me? You don't know? Quick. We're gonna pretend Gibbets is fine. We're just gonna push them back together. Push them back together. General human raccoon shape. Just this little lick your hand and just like stick them back. It'll be fine. The parts that are ash, there should still be some normal pieces there. It's fine. It's how it works. Yeah. Good. Okay. So we have the courtroom scene. Can I eat what's left of... No, you cannot eat what's left of Gibbets! No. Don't. What wind? There's no window downstairs. What wind? There's no window downstairs.
Gene, I'm hungry. You haven't fed me in days.
You don't need food. You don't need food. You're a figment of my imagination.
Don't worry, we don't need food. We have fried gibbets. Mmm.
No. Hey. Okay, I'm going back down. I'm going back downstairs. So I had to make sure the door's very closed. Hey. Stop eating gibbets. Stop eating. I'm taking him with me. Okay. I'm grabbing him. Thank you. I'll be back. You stay here. I'm going to go fix gibbets again. It's fine. I'm going to have to start adding other parts.
Crispy.
No, I'm starting to add other... Oh, I don't care about the mold. I mean, like, what am I going to have to worry about here? You know, you all just get lung disease. It's fine. Anyways, I'm going to take care of gibbets. I'm going to have to add some more parts to gibbets this time. There might be real raccoon in it this time. It's okay. It's okay.
Gene, if you don't feed us some, we're gonna have to eat someone. I vote nap time.
No eating nap time. They have to fly the plane.
Fine. Then I'm eating Savvy.
What? Don't eat. Hey. Okay, I'll get food. Stop eating each other. I just locked the door. Chat. You haven't been stuck here that long. You've been out all day today. What did you just not eat all day and then you came in here like, okay. It's been 5 minutes. Cannibalism? Is that what's happening now? I follow as tribute. Okay.
Eat, Addy. I have a lot of promise. Guys, I'm about to have my licenses.
I bought Takis, eat those.
I'ma eat this cold pizza I found.
Chat, is there a fridge back there? Is there a fridge? Has there been a fridge back there this entire time and y'all have just been deciding to eat people instead? You can't tell me that there's been a fridge back there this entire time. Everybody has just been eating each other. Why was your first choice cannibalism? How am I? I ordered Panda Express off your...
I ordered Panda Express off your phone for everyone, by the way. Also, totally don't buy us a TV.
Give me back my phone.
Curse you, sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Give me my phone, not your phone. Give me my phone.
Cause why not? Why you judging?
Wow. No, give me my phone back.
I grew up on Old Man Hanagram, Yaoi. Of course I choose cannibalism.
Thank you, Anya. Thank you. What do you mean, anagram, Yaoi? What does... Oh, no. I mean, the food's already ordered. I'm not canceling the order. So y'all will at least have Chinese today, or whatever Panda Express counts. You ate the noodles that had sickness by the... Y'all are gonna end up dead. Y'all are just gonna end up dead. It's gonna be like, hey, Gene, where'd all your viewers go? They ate each other, then ate random stuff they found, and now they're all dead. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed? Hannibal and Will Grant. Okay. Do you think other people have to deal with this? Do you think other people?
I also changed your password, and there's pictures of all of us sacrificing gibbets in there.
I haven't fixed gibbets. Chat, behave yourself. I'll be right back.
Here we see the cage of endless cannibalism. This is all Gene's fault.
Please hold. Your revival will be happening momentarily.
The cage of endless cannibalism is a wild, unruly place, but the little cannibals are rather cute.
Sorry, Gene, I had to take $30. For reasons I may not disclose. I wanted a new outfit.
Okay. We're just...
Today we sacrifice Kieliki.
No, we're not. All right, Soul of Gibbets, which pronouns would you prefer to be in this body?
But tiptoes over to Carmia and makes her into a salad since she identifies as a plant.
No making. Ghost of Gibbets, what pronouns would you prefer to identify in this body? I will complete it for you. Well, Gibbets' soul is gone, chat.
You guys are so funny. I love all of you. You really made my day.
Whatever.
I hope you all take care and not be hard on yourselves. All my love is for you guys.
Oh, sweet. Today's body will be she. Tomorrow's body may be something else.
I consent to being sacrificed.
I give you your body back, Gibbets. Enjoy it. I had to add some other parts to it. Don't worry where those came from. But you know, you're bigger now. We got you at normal size again. Because chat ate parts of you for some reason. Chat, if you just quit eating people, this would... You can't consent to being No. All right, I guess I should actually do like a rise, Gibbets. Rise. There you go. No, I'm not allowing you to sacrifice people. No. Murder is still illegal, and this is murder even if it's sacrifice. It doesn't matter if they consent. You can't consent to breaking the law. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I consent for them to eat my corpse? No, can't. Don't care. No, you're getting actual... I'm ordering food. The Panda Express has been ordered. Y'all can be patient while we game, okay? Okay. I'm a villain. I'm not a killer. Hi, Moonflower.
Sorry, stick in the mud, Taskman.
Did I have a stroke?
Gibbets. Gibbets were delicious. You are giving us a second chance
I'm not
to
giving you a
eat
second.
them.
Gibbets is staying out of the cage.
Thoughtful of you, Gene.
Gibbets is riding on my hip. Like I'm holding them, and they are going to be with me at all times to ensure
Cannibalism and
nobody eats
sacrifices are
gibbets.
allowed within the cage, as this red puppy is a villain, and as his captives, we shall be depraved like he is.
No. Imagine if that happened. No. Hear me out. Don't.
One of these days, I'm going to question my life choices. Unfortunately, today was not the day.
Okay, chat, sweetie, lovelies. No.
Guys,
No.
it's
What do you
okay.
want?
Sacrifice me when he's not looking.
Stop having human sacrifices when I'm not looking. I'm going to open this cage and I'm going to get in there, okay? Listen. Just imagine how terrifying that would be. Like, you're trying to commit a crime, you take all the bank people hostage, and you're like, okay, here we go. Everything's going to be fine.
I want to be sacrificed so I can be isekai'd into a villainous manhwa.
You're not getting isekai'd. That has to be a car. We don't have Truck Kun here. Shut up, chat. God, I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Sacrifice.
Why is Danny DeVito chanting sacrifice?
Can I give Gibbet some pillows and blankets?
Maybe.
No, let's sacrifice people while he watches. Keep eye contact with him the entire time.
All right. You know what? No. Oh, no, it's closed again.
I will go in the middle. Someone grab a Walmart plastic knife and sacrifice me for everyone's afternoon side dish.
Y'all are out. Y'all can leave now. Okay? You can leave. No more sacrificing.
Sacrifice the dog.
No! Shit! Close the door! Close it! No. Not.
Hello, Janina Manu. The rat has arrived.
Nice try. That's... well...
Nothing bad will happen, I promise.
Hey. Hi, Pink. How are you doing? We're gonna leave the basement behind.
Open the door. We were so close.
No, it's fine. The basement, it's fine, chat. We're not gonna go back to the basement for a little while. You all are gonna have...
I'm clinging to Gene, losing my damn mind.
See, Gibbets, it's okay here, Gibbets. It's okay. We'll take care of you.
Not all isekai are truck-kun. Some are murder. Sacrifice me.
The door's staying closed, chat. Joel, the door's staying closed. All right, here we go.
While he was panicking, I stole the gibbets. Who wants dinner?
Like this?
I'm here to take Gibbets back.
I'm just gonna go watch cat vids on the bed.
Come here. Got Gibbets. My Gibbets. No taking Gibbets. Okay.
Open the door. Dog Capri. Sniffa.
Stay.
Capri. Sniffa. Capri. Sniffa.
It's okay now, Gibbets. You can't sacrifice me. Back in the cage. This is why I have a cage. All I wanted to do was commit crime and have hostages, and y'all had to cannibalize and sacrifice.
I don't
There's
eat,
not even
so
a
I
cult
have
here.
no part in this cannibal stuff.
At least start a cult or something. Make there be a reason for the sacrifices. Don't just sacrifice. You have to sacrifice people to something. It's just murder if there's not a cause, okay?
Gibbets, you are not safe. We will take you back to the cage.
Gibbets is safe out of here. Gibbets is safer out of here. Good.
Does this mean I can eat one brick, just one, to enjoy for 1 week?
Do you want to eat a brick? Yeah, you can eat a brick. Go eat a brick.
What if we sacrifice them to the void?
Here in this cage, we sacrifice each other for sport. It is our way of life.
It makes it better. That's David Attenborough. Here in the cage, we sacrifice them for sport. It is
I'm going to go make Chat use some jasmine tea.
Thank you.
Well, Gene, you try to stop the sacrificing, Gene.
I am.
Good luck.
Okay.
Would you like some sugar? Oh?
I would like. No sugar. No sugar. No, Chat doesn't need sugar. Okay.
Cult of nap time.
Cult of nap time. Can I please come with you and Gibbets? Okay, everybody who doesn't want to sacrifice people.
Anyone who wants to be sacrificed can join in Cult of the Lamb.
Fair. Fair. Chat, we're going to play Cult of the Lamb at some point, and then we can really sacrifice people, okay?
But Gene, the cause is chaos.
No.
We worship the chaos that is you. We must make sacrifices to the chaos god that is Gene.
I have an idea, Chat. I have an idea. We're going to play Cult of the Lamb. I'm going to make a cult in it. Then, what do you want?
I don't feel safe in here. Can I please come with you and Gibbets?
Yes, honey, you can come with us. So I'm going to make a Cult of the Lamb cult, and then I can actually sacrifice people. How does that sound?
Sugar?
No sugar. No sugar. Do y'all want to be? Yeah?
Okay, no sugar. Akito blanket. Tipia fufun.
Okay. Are we calm? We calm? Hey, chat. Are we calm?
Let me on!
No, Pink. Relax. We good? I'm not opening the cage, then Ico.
Get him when the cage opens!
No energy drinks. Okay, we're going to do some game. It's time for game time.
I have enough energy drinks for everyone who wants some.
It's game time. Well, no energy drinks. Stop sharing energy drinks. I have to change the game. Karma, the dark world.
Okay, Gene, what do you want from the body? Want the arm? Maybe the leg?
Whose body?
The body might be too much.
Whose
By
body?
the villain of your voice, I can tell you want 2A.
2A. I don't know what 2 is. Okay, we're leaving the basement.
Can I go with Honeydew? I haven't done anything and don't feel safe here.
All right, chat. All right, I'm gonna. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw open the cage.
I don't feel safe either.
I'm gonna run upstairs.
I definitely am not one of the key chaos starters.
I'm gonna lock the door behind me, and what y'all do in the house is up to you. We'll figure this out some other time.
I'm gonna electrocute all of you.
Okay.
Get me out of this cage, or he'll sacrifice folk.
Area for games, chat. Mwah. All right, we're gonna play some Karma. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Don't burn everything. Do not burn everything, chat. Game time. Okay. Game is too loud or too quiet. Seems good. Do you know what's funny, chat? Oh, I gotta turn it down a little bit. When we go into oh, take it easy, Bogu. When we go into a raid, y'all can try to warn the raiders of what's gonna happen. Oh no, not this again. Okay, but at least we can hear the puzzle.
All of the clues are pointing to Fred Abbott. I must
And now
act quickly.
we see the red puppy in
The
his
Thought Bureau
element
will
begins
surely
gaming
soon find
time,
out
and
the
I will
fact that
shut
I
up
came
now.
here to
Thank you, puppy.
investigate on my own will.
Hope you feel better soon. Thank you, Echo. Okay. I'm excited to finally actually hear this puzzle so I can actually figure it out properly. Fight me, Pink. He's a dog. I'm that dog. Got that dog in me. Woof, woof, woof. Okay. So here we go. Push it in. So that's 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I will electrocute you with mat tail.
What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know what it is, but I want to understand why. I need to understand this. Okay, so that's definitely 1. Welcome. Things have calmed down a little bit. I don't understand this puzzle, but we know the answer. 0. Oh wait, no. Yeah, 0, 50. And now I can get all the stuff. Oh no, he's dead. I wonder what happened. Oh no, it's too late. Somebody beat us here. Ah, he's a corpse.
Damn. He's dead. I'm too late. Whoever killed him must be the person behind all of this.
Tea time with the side of, are we eating real food? Real food, real food. We brought real food this time. Chat, I need a place seat. You know what that reminds me of? Ooh, what's this? In the Cult of the Lamb game, right? There is a you can eat poop. You can eat poop. And people made a comic or an animation where they get mad that you don't let them eat poop. And that would be you, chat. Y'all would be like, I'm saying you can't eat this thing. And you're like, no, but I want to eat this thing. Why can't I eat this thing? Because y'all goofy like that, chat. Thank you for the subs. What the heck? Thank you. All right. Okay. WW, thank you. That was so many. I really do appreciate it. You know, you don't have to do that, but, you know, I always appreciate it nonetheless. Oh, it's one of those things of... Okay, so this is going to be that man. Oh. Wait. Okay. That feels right.
Rachel is a woman with courage and a mind of her own. As an opponent, I respect her. Her memory is also the reason why I'm back here again. For Lucas, she exchanged the final terms with Fred and that professor. She really trusted them, even if it meant paying with her life. What a pity.
Oh, that'd be fun, Echo. So I'm also eating edamame. Edamame is delicious, chat. You don't even know. Oh, it's the colors are evil all together. Never will we die. You need to fix your car. You do need to fix your car. Save your money. Never will we die. Nice. Good. I'm proud of you. Get those things fixed. Okay, what's going on here? I'm so confused. Wait. No, it's supposed to be reversed then, right? Things. Chat, I'm still focused on everything else. Wait. You know what I have now? You know what I can do? I can take you all to court for cannibalism. And now I have reasons to put you on trial. Yes. Chad, you've committed crimes. You have committed crimes. And now I can punish you for them. That makes the most sense, right? Wait. Okay, here's the daughter. Oh, it was wrong from the beginning. Okay. That one's correct.
Story is tragic.
There you go.
After everything that happened, his wife left him once he was demoted to a clerk. Sean's file has several violations for smuggling company assets to the city border, presumably because he has to take care of his 8-year-old daughter. That could be the leverage that killer used against him.
Ooh, that head exploded. Okay. So you, Rachel. That means you.
Ever since the company first
there we
sent me here
go.
to investigate, I've just been a passenger along for the ride. The suspects died one after another, and the killer was fully aware of Rome's brain dive operations. But almost every time, the killer intentionally left clues for me, encouraging me to delve ever deeper. I don't know if it's a trap or... But now I can trust no one. Not even the company.
Yeah, I don't think the silly guy allegations are going to work.
Be part of a larger photo. Why did he betray Leviathan and implicate me?
Chat, we will have votes. We'll have votes.
I need to find him next.
And you can vote to see which way the poll goes. Oh no. Okay. Home. No, actually it's Iamach. My.
Daniel.
Michael.
Where are you?
Daniel, come. Hurry.
Where are you, mother? Are you mother?
What's happening to me?
Where is she?
Mother.
Daniel, I'm here. Open the door, Daniel.
Oh,
Get it.
How?
Girly pop, this don't seem correct. Oh! This ain't good. This is definitely not the best. What do you mean, What, did I die?
Mother.
What?
Daniel, I'm here. Open the door, Daniel.
How?
Huh. Something's going on over here. There we go. I figured it out. I'm supposed to dodge. We got it. What the? Homie, what? Mean.
Where am I?
I see dead
You're
people.
awake. This is my lab.
What are you gonna
I
do
bet
to
it
me?
is.
You?
Shush, cut me out. No, you don't know what I'm doing. No.
Getting to know you.
Don't out me.
Like
Don't out me.
family members who haven't seen each other in years. Let's talk about the past.
What are you talking about?
They're tasty. Shut up.
One is a father who has survived a disaster, lurking in the dark, waiting for an opportunity. And the other is a son whose memory has been manipulated and now works as an executioner for the enemy. Glad to see that you've grown, son.
What are you saying?
I hope I've not spooked you. This half of my body is useless. If your big sister hadn't been so naughty...
Sister...
Hey!
No! What are you saying?
Calm down, young man. You don't have to recall everything all at once.
Who are you? What do you want with me? What is that?
There. It's all right.
Did you
You
drug
must have
me?
been here at some point in time, somewhere in the depths of your memory. But Leviathan has altered your brain. These broken images must have made you feel confused at times.
No. Stop.
I know that feeling, Daniel. I know, as it is one of the results of my research. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that Mother would eventually apply what I did for her to my son.
What are you doing?
I'm going to bring you back and help you find your lost memories, Daniel.
Ooh!
About the very beginning of this whole plan. I know you have many questions.
Answers!
All right, then. You may have realized how Fred and I came to know each other. The fact is, many years ago, we were members of an organization known as Gold Rush. We were sent to this city and created everything here.
Daniel, Leviathan's agent. In 3 days, I will create an opportunity for you to attack someone.
Who?
Thank you, Sloppy Styles.
Shawn Mendes.
Professor, I don't understand. Isn't he the one who...
I will create this opportunity precisely because he has those bad habits.
What bad habits?
So I will put that pen recorder in his locker again.
But he's already...
I wouldn't feel sorry for him if I were you.
Shawn Mendes, a smuggler and a thief. He's as much a criminal as the others.
Mwah. Kiss me, Sloppy Styles. Just kidding. Don't kiss me. I'm eating a cookie. It's a delicious
I
cookie.
need to kill him?
You just
Girl.
need to create a distraction.
Why is that your first go-to? Should I kill him? No? Okay.
I'll
Okay.
contact my
But
people
should I
in
kill him, though?
Leviathan.
No? Okay. Okay.
Tell them to bring
But should I
Daniel
kill...
here.
Rachel, chill out. Stop trying to kill people.
Once Daniel learns about what happened between you and Shawn, he'll surely notify the Thought Bureau. Immediately. Don't hesitate. You must go to the Bureau that very night. And turn yourself in. Keep him busy with these crimes, but try not to arouse Mother's suspicion.
Professor, I can do it. As long as it helps your cause.
As long as it helps your cause.
He's a Thought Bureau agent.
But he's a Thought
If he
Bureau
sees
agent.
my memory, he'll see you as well.
So sweet, so kind. But do I kill him, though?
Or is that what you want? For him to come and look for you?
I have faith in my children. They are my future.
That man's face. Hey, chat. Hey, chat. I have an idea. I need you all.
Daniel Have you
One
really
second.
forgotten her?
Hi, Echo. All right, chat, I want you all to make animal noises. I want you all to make animal noises. Any animal noise that you have, I want to hear it now. I want to spam the chat.
Don't be scared, my little brother.
Meow's perfect.
Lisa is your sister.
Arf, perfect. Cause chaos.
That was the very
I
day
need
that
noises.
our family
Nay.
was
Perfect.
forever
Meow.
separated.
Even better. Bah.
This is
Why bah?
all my fault.
Meow.
Fred and I were studying
Moo.
a Dasein leaf
Thank
that
you.
caused both you and Lisa to be infected.
Bunny grunts.
Even though your
The
lives were
undead
not in
raccoon
danger,
noises.
Lisa's body underwent some similar changes.
All right, sorry.
No, stop.
Drama's happening. Wait, they're about to kill her. Stop making animal
Your
noises.
soul and Lisa's are interconnected. As long as you are around, Lisa will never lose control.
Gotta focus.
Child, you must take good care of yourself. Go on, you monster.
Girl. Pika, Pika. 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 Pika, Pika.
People like Mother and Fred may
Yeah,
never
it's a-
appreciate the
I don't know what I'm
significance
doing.
of the soul.
So wait, what? Oh. Hi, Ben was killed. What? What the? There
took
were
you and Lisa.
there were bunnies that were bouncing on a trampoline, and I just figured out they weren't real.
Remember to wipe his memory clean. I don't want him seeking revenge.
Sorry to hear that, Ben. I hope you're
Why
okay.
does this place smell so bad?
No, 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 no. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
I've lost everything.
There were rabbits who were jumping on a trampoline, and I just found out they weren't real. And I'm hitting rabbit, and I can't take. Good luck, Ben. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that puppy shaped like a deer.
Doing? Hey, it's okay. You're back. It's okay now.
And I can imagine
Something to say to you. You need to listen.
But you gotta tell me. I'm listening.
I have failed in my duty as a father. I failed to protect my family. But as a man, I will not spare anyone who dares destroy our family. That's what I've been doing all these years. You need to protect your sister. You know that, don't you? No, you don't. After I've gained control of Fred's brain, I finally understood what Mother is really after. She wants Lisa's power. She wants unlimited freedom, but what she doesn't know is you are the key. Mother can only discover Lisa's secret when you are dead.
The key?
Mother will surely know that you have come to see me. I've thought of countless ways to save you. Countless. One day, she'll find out. But there's a way to stop her.
What?
Thank you for the lyric. You can't save him.
I don't know how many people will come to investigate your memory. Your brain will continue to degenerate due to their endless probing, and one day, your memory will eventually collapse. I've planted a consciousness virus in your brain. When others come to view this memory, I will devour them, and subsequently all that Leviathan owns.
Oh.
But the most critical link is missing. Daniel, for that virus to work, we need to create a crucial event.
Father?
Oh. Oh. Yeah, you're not going to be able to save him after this one.
I've not been a good father, Daniel. The thing I worked my whole life to create is the very thing that destroyed the people I love and destroyed this city.
Father, what are you doing?
I hope my death will create the karma in your brain that can put an end to all this. Kill me, son. You need to kill me. Kill me.
Father.
Do at least one good thing. Be a man. Protect your family.
Ad break. There's an ad break, so we're going to pause until the ad's over because this is important for everybody to see. So we're going to pause. I know, it's a really intense moment, but I didn't have a chance to pause the ad break. So, unfortunately, we're going to wait, and we're going to come back. Okay? Everybody good with that? Sweet. The dad is a coward. The dad is a coward. We'll do a little game, though. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back, welcome back. Y'all did really good. I'm very impressed by you. Not so impressed that I'm going to let you out of the cage, but, you know. Hello. Hope you all enjoy. You ready? Let's keep going. All right.
It's all right. No, no, why? This is my destiny. Hey, look at you. You're all grown up, kid. No. I promise you, I will keep the secret safe. I promise you. I'll keep the secret safe.
That's insane. That's insane.
What's happened to me?
We're back in the body chat.
I found you, intruder.
Leave the gifted. What the heck? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Tear you apart.
Yep. Thank you, Nix. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But also, how dare you? This is insane. Oh. What? Okay, so for those of you who are not understanding what happened, we are actually a guy trying to jack into the mind of Daniel, and we're trying to check out Daniel's memories to figure out why there's that power. We're actually some sort of like grown person, and we got put into the memories of Daniel. This is the virus that Daniel's father put into place to kill any intruder, and we are an intruder. This has all been memories so far. Hi, Amori. How you doing? Here we go. Here we go. See, this is more explains it.
Please. Let me go. Harm's friend, let me go. I can't take much more of this. Murderer.
Hype train. Hype train. What the heck? Thank you. I'm doing good, by the way.
Hey, hang in there. Focus on what's ahead. You need to concentrate. Leave the rest to me.
We're gonna make it out. Hype train. Hype train. Hype train. Hype train. Hype train.
Run! Hurry!
Chat, if we hit like a Hype Train 5, I will get head pats in the next stream. But I know that will happen, so it's fine. Hi, Andy Beanda, how you doing? Oh no, oh no. Well, thank you for the gifted subs. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Who just gifted? Thank you, Carmi. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
No, this is not his destiny. Father. How about this? Give me some time. Behave yourself,
Oh, what the heck? Thank you for the subs.
You saved me.
I was.
It's you. The voice in my head. Who are you?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Lisa. Lisa McGovern.
Y'all are incredible. You know that?
Yes. I've been observing you since you entered my brother's head.
Oh, she tiny.
Time. Do you still have my brother's cassette player?
Yes, I still have it. Here.
Ha! Now this is a true
What level
classic.
did I say we have to meet? Oh. It is so close.
Hold my
It is
hand
so close.
tightly.
What
We're right
now?
on the edge.
Let's go find my brother.
Hey, you should flip to the other side.
What?
I said this side's done. You should flip to the other side.
No, I want to play it in reverse, babe.
Huh? Thank you. Fine. We hit level 5. We hit
What
level
is this
5.
place?
Maybe some
And
kind
you
of
won!
hyperdimensional
And you
space
won.
tunnel?
And you won.
I don't
Arf,
know.
Arf, I'm such a
Can't
cute
even
little pup.
explain it myself. But you.
And because of that, I'm going to gift another sub. Let's see. Who do we have today? Boku. Why don't you have a sub? We're gifting out a sub for Honey winning, so we'll gift this one to Boku. Thank you so much for winning, Honey.
Must be careful. There are other things here.
Other things.
Crazy. I appreciate it all. All right, I'll get the head pat redeemed for next stream.
So what do we do now?
Observe. Find some memories related to my brother. I'll piece them back together. This will help me find him.
Why didn't you show up earlier? Only some intermittent sounds here and there.
I've been gradually regaining my ability as Daniel's condition worsens.
So now you're able to cross over to here.
That's right.
No.
I don't think he's going to make it. We need to work harder.
Hey, there's a lot of torn paper and
Yep.
colored pens here.
The morning stream. I said the morning stream. Oh, I guess we're doing this.
That's right. It's a picture he drew as a child. Father was always yelling at him for drawing. Let's continue.
Choo choo.
Do you know me? I mean, the me in the company.
I know you, in all the different times, so I feel safe letting you come into my brother's mind.
So you won't kill me anymore, right?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, keep an eye on our surroundings.
I'm not sure if this is what we're looking for.
What's my hype train
toy
record? I
train.
think 11 or
Let me
something.
take a look.
It might be 9 or 11. I cannot remember. But those numbers feel right.
His favorite toy. It was always going round and round.
Should we do something
You're
if I
really
ever
good
break
at
the
playing
record?
it. You know that? Let's continue.
Okay.
It's 10? Oh!
Whatever you say, boss.
Chat is being funny and cute. It's at the bottom. Okay,
So-
what?
You're not actually a child, are you?
Oh, my. Why do you company employees always have so many questions?
I'll focus on the story. But if we ever hit the record, I'll do something for it.
Because this is the only image of me that my brother has in his mind. He's unable to build an image of me the way I am in reality.
How about this?
No. We're good. We're good. You hit the level. You hit the level. You're good. You got this. 10. The record was 10, Hype Train. So it would be double what we've currently hit. But I don't have any plans
My father gave me this
of
when I
what
was
to
in
do
school.
yet.
He always thought I'd take it with me when I went traveling the world, but I only got to use it a couple times before Daniel snatched it away. He always liked to play hide and seek with me, saying that there was a monster's eye
You're ignoring me. How dare you?
that could only be destroyed using the camera.
No wonder.
Oh, what the heck?
Lisa, how about this?
Y'all, I need a ritual. We need to have some sort of Hype Train ritual. Do. Do you know every good VTuber has a good Hype Train ritual? We don't have one. We need one.
And also the last. Okay, everything's been restored.
We'll find one. But thank you so much. This is insane. Y'all really didn't have to do this. Wow. W Boku. Thank you, Boku.
What's going to happen next? Why don't you kill me? Like your father said.
Because you're a good person.
We're a good
Whether it's in
person.
this space or another space, you're a good person. You just don't know it.
When all this is over, can I go back?
Yes, when all this is over.
I'll keep the secret safe.
You should know more than I do about how Leviathan operates. If you fail to keep
Y'all
the
ridiculous.
secret, I'll kill you before it happens. You, in any time, any space. In the past or the future.
Which must mean we're not going to ever do it, because she would kill me in the future, right? So she can kill me now.
Shh. Stay right here.
No, it's gone. All gone.
What the heck? Who just gave, what? No. Hey, stop that. Keep your money. No, y'all.
Daniel?
Do you know who I am?
Y'all, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Help me look at this.
Wow, thank you.
Daniel.
Thank you.
Do you know my parents? They're in this photo. But I can no longer see them clearly. Mutter? Ojciec?
I don't need money, but I appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
I think my mother is calling me. She's calling me to dinner. Do you hear?
What was that?
Oh, my little brother.
Oh.
Dad.
Thank
Dad,
you.
I failed to
Thank you.
protect her. I didn't keep my promise. I don't want to stay in this lonely castle anymore. I can't take it.
Castle?
Dad, this is the castle. I feel that this world is like a castle, built from countless grains of sand, standing on a beach, covered with clouds, as the black waves continuously beat against it. Every time the waves come, they carry away some of the sand.
Wow.
In this endless eternity, I am the protector of this crumbling castle. The sand is my memories. The castle, ravaged by the waves, is the secret I have guarded all my life.
Think of the chicken.
One day, I will be swept into the sea with the last grains of sand. I can't hold on much longer. I'm trapped here forever. I will be completely forgotten. Father!
You've done very well, little brother. You've done very well.
But
Boku, no! Thank you.
I want to see the secret again.
Have a good stream, Envy. Have a good day.
Never see it again.
Oh, dang, Boku.
My little brother.
Thank you, Boku.
Trust
Thank
me.
you.
You will see it again, because I'm here with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andromeda.
Lisa. Why did you take so long to find me?
It's so crazy. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Echo.
Daniel.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Let's go home, Daniel.
Did it? I appreciate you all so very, very much. Thank you. Mwah. Mwah. Such a goofy emote. I will have it ready for next stream, I promise. I promise. I promise. Mm-hmm.
Daniel, Lisa, it's time to eat.
Kids.
The game?
Mum, let me help you. Dad?
What is it, Daniel? Hurry up and sit at the table.
Dad,
Okay.
hurry.
Understood.
Interesting. Thank you for the check-in.
Go give him the camera.
Oh, no, not a virus.
Go give him the
I'll explain in a second. I'll give a whole rundown of the game in just a sec. We're currently in that little boy's brain. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for following Unstable Raccoon. But we're in the little kid's brain right now. Oh, we do have another raccoon. That's funny. We keep getting more raccoons. Okay, so here's what happened, chat. Kids were being tested for like psychic powers, right? At the very beginning, the kids were being tested for psychic powers, and Daniel didn't have a psychic power, but his sister did. And there was a reason somehow that the sister's power, the soul of that sister, was tied in with the brother. Okay? And so, since the sister has this crazy power, this AI system called Mother that was made by the Daniel's father wanted to escape its confines, and apparently it could do that with the little sister's power. So what it has been doing is using the brain of Daniel. It's been sending agents back into Daniel's brain to try to figure out what the secret is to unlock the sister's power. But the dad, expecting this, put in a mimetic virus, so like an idea virus, so that when somebody were to get to that part of the brain, like when they reach the end of Daniel's thing and they get the secret, the second they get the secret, a virus is triggered and destroys the brain of the person who's attacking or who's invading. So, we were one such person, agent, who was entering the brain, and we went through Daniel's life up to like that specific like random memories of Daniel and what he went through to get to where he was with his father. When we reached the father and we ran from the virus, the sister, who was still alive, hijacked the virus and pulled us out. And she was like, I want this. She's kind of like wanted this to end. And so she went to Daniel and reverted Daniel back to when he was a kid. And so now they're kind of living in that memory of Daniel and the sister as kids with a happy family. While I don't know what happens to us. I mean, so far what's happened is that every time somebody comes out of that, they don't retain the memories. None of them retain the memories. So it makes me wonder if it keeps happening on loop. And maybe we're just going to come out of this and be like, no, we don't remember anything. And then they're going to kill us. And then they're going to put a new clone in. Because the world that we saw was definitely interesting. Cool game. Very cool game. Yes, we were the agent inside Daniel from the start. At the very beginning, it says you're going to recall your memories. And so I think we're actually a clone of Daniel. We were a clone of Daniel that was then loaded into Daniel. Because they were growing people and they all look the same. They all have this white hair. Mm-hmm. I think that's why, like, they did the extreme white hair, and like everybody in his family has this white hair, because they wanted to like make you know that. I think one of those is us. Or is that us? No, that must be Daniel. That must be Daniel. Yep, there we go. That's Daniel. And with the death of Daniel, her power's unlocked. And so now she's free. I get it. Okay. Very good. Yeah, so basically, Daniel was being kept alive and plugged in, and so that people could just keep remoting into his brain and basically accessing his memories. But the clones of Daniel would continuously, fail to recover the memories. But now that he's finally dead, which I think what she did was give him like a final memory, a send-off. Now he's dead. She can escape. Why are the credits low res in this part? I have finished a game. We beat Resident Evil 4. We beat Resident Evil 4. I mean, technically, I didn't beat all the extra stuff for Resident Evil 4. So this is the first game I'm beating all the way without any of the additional stuff. But, you know. And I finished the Siren, not Siren, but the Still Wakes the Deep. Okay. Oh, thank you. This is good music. Gang Lee. We did it. Proud of you. Proud of all of you. Thank you for sticking with me. Should we get a little celebration? We should play some hype music after this. What do you think? Or do we let the credits finish out? I gotta be patient, chat. Dance break? I think it's dance break. This is not the end. It's time. All right. Boop. Can you all still hear the game? Let me know if you can still hear the game. Perfect, then it works. Okay, cool. All right, chat, let's see what we got. You ready? I like this one. Actually, no, it's the one with the Iron Mouse. Here we go. I slipped, chat. Don't worry about it. I fixed it. I fixed it. I fixed it. Sorry, how we feeling? How we feeling? How's everybody feeling? We doing good? We all feeling great? Good game, good experience, good little dance party. It's been fun. I live baby nose. I live baby nose too. I live baby nose. We beat a game. We had some cannibalism today. We listed. We had a dance party. Overall, done a lot this stream. No arson. Hey. Look how sweet I'm looking at you. Look how sweet I'm looking at you. Look how sweet I'm looking. Here. I'll do. Wait. At you. So I can do. Look, I'm gonna cry. What if I blush? If I blush, will you not set everything on fire, please? Please?
Okay, doggo, that was a good stream and good game.
Please don't burn down the stream.
Try harder and maybe.
I'm trying. No, don't set it on fire.
How cute, Tilda.
I need the stream, chat. I need the stream to survive.
This stream will now be set on fire, as this is the nature of this chat. Excellent way to wrap up.
I love the David Attenborough voice. It just makes everything so much better, you know?
I'll hide the oil and try to make everyone have a non-arson-filled tea party.
There we go. I appreciate that. Chat, I will permanently change my color. I'll be this color now. We'll get rid of the red. There'll be no more red. You wouldn't want that, would you? Exactly. That's what I thought. It's not me anymore.
Wait, I like this color, though.
No. I'm red. No. Edge. Maybe. B-side. I know. Red is my energy. Red is my vibes. Red. I like red. Oh, I forgot about this one as well. So now I can sing. No,
put it back. Bring the black back.
I was singing. Hey. I do owe you all a drunken karaoke. I keep forgetting I do owe you a drunken karaoke. How much longer do we have on stream? Like 10 minutes. About 10 minutes. If we're hitting the 2-hour mark, and we're doing a little cool down right now. So. You're fine. Why, Neeks? Are you going to hold me to that? Are you going to be like, Dan, you said you're only going to do 2 blah, blah, blah hours, and you're still going on. Me. Gotta wait till 5. 5 for what? Maybe.
Can we get the color switch as a redeem, please?
Maybe.
I'll add scones and cookies to the tea party.
Hypothetically, maybe. I would need to change it up a little bit because I don't like some of the stuff going on with it. I mean, we'll take a look at it real quick. See, I don't like the additional... I'll show you all what I don't like. Yeah. So I don't like the additional, like, he's wearing a backpack. And I don't like some of, like, the coloring of it 'cause it's, like, so bright. And so when I do this, everything changes. The jacket's a little bit darker. It removed the additional lights in the hair, which I wasn't really fond of, as well as some of the additional streaks. How do you change colors? Oh, Leon, do you use Live 2D? Hello, Hannah. But if you're using Live 2D, you can just go into okay, then, well. But yeah, so the way you do it, though, is you adjust the coloration for the different meshes. And so you have to individually go through the meshes and remove them. And so some of the meshes, like, I just turn opaque. So they're still there. They're just hidden. And then other of the meshes, I mean, like, if you look at this guy, he also has stuff on his arm. It's just like there's too much stuff. There's too much stuff on this jacket. So I was like, no, that's nicer. Meshes. But yeah, you go through, you take all the meshes, you change the color of the mesh, and then you, yeah, you do it. You're good. Wow. Yes. Good stream, though. Was fun, wasn't it? Y'all have a good time. Enjoyed the... We'll do more TTS stuff at the beginning of streams. I think that's the perfect time to do it. We did great. How did I come at the end? Well, because we stream every single day. It's so expensive, though. Exactly. Everyone came right at the end, apparently. I feel bad, chat. But chat, y'all did amazing, by the way. Y'all did the TTS, a very high amount at the beginning of the stream, which was a lot of fun. And then, near the end of the stream, y'all did... Y'all chilled out on it. And used it only as a little flavor. So I like that. You did great. I'm very, very, very proud of you all for how you did it, okay? What are you laughing at? Stop laughing. What are we laughing at? Chat, explain. Explain, chat. God damn it. Really? You gonna make my last 5 minutes of the stream all Southern? All right. Apparently, the rest of my stream is gonna be Southern. Got it. Understood. You know what? I could change my model right now, and y'all wouldn't even know what to do with it, would you? I could show y'all my old model. God, I don't like my old model, actually, though. Do y'all want to see the old one? Y'all want to see it? Here. I'm a temporary swap it out. Oh, it's not my kind of model. So first off, has no legs. That was the wrong version. Give me a second. Has no legs, no hands, and look how limited the motion is. It's about all the motion we get. So I can't go any lower than that. It just morphs the face. And it's a right and left toggle. But the motion is not as bad. And usually I would wear glasses, but I don't think I have my glasses toggle on. Let me see if I can pull up the toggles real quick. Yeah. I got different vibe, different world. Let's see. Oh. They ain't got any of the honkies.
Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Where's the one that I wanted?
Emojina, hello.
Here's how it normally look. All right, I'm gonna add the 2 more toggles that I would add additionally, because they were important. Let's see, where is it? Change. All right, this one and this one. Where is it? Where is it? You ready? So this is what I'd normally look like. Oh, it's gone. Damn it, didn't work. 1 second. 1 second. I'm gonna have this shown on screen. Yeah. All right. This one and this one. And that's what I normally looked like. With the glasses and everything. But you notice the hair does not move as well. The cheeks don't react as much. I can't do anything with the tongue. I like the mouth. The mouth is fun. But that's about it. That's the one we got now. Is this one? I would like to go with maybe more of a dog ear later on, but this one will have a lot more of an expression, you know. The body motion is a lot more fluid. The hair is a lot better, and I could do. So overall, an upgrade. Yeah, we're gonna have pointed ears on the new one. It's just gonna be more doggy style. This one's almost more cat, though they're supposed to be wolf. I mean, like, y'all get what they're going for, right? And I'm gonna have glasses because I can put glasses on. Ah. I mean, the ears are amazing, ain't they? Ain't they? Ain't they so amazing? Look all the little stuff they do. I love them. I love them. I love them. All right. Well, chat. We've got literally a minute left to stream. We got literally a minute after stream. You want to pet ears respectfully? You are legally allowed to pet me. In fact, it might be required. Possibly. Don't grab my ears. Hey. Hey. Rude. Mean. I do have a glasses toggle, but I haven't mapped them properly. So we are going to work on that. I'll get some better glasses at some point. But yeah. And I can also, wait. So that's the position. Take off the headphones. Right. No, what's this one do? Oh God, my titties. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about that. It happened. Too much, Gina. I might explode. I mean, there's nothing under there. There ain't nothing under there. He flashed us. Do it again. Then we got the book. This was custom made, by the way. No one else has this book. Ain't that cool? And you know what this book does? Watch this. You ready? You ready? You ready? I had the book custom made with this additional thing, with the toggle. So ain't nobody got this but me. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. But yeah. Ain't it cool? Ain't it cool? What does this button do? Chat, they're gone. Chat, they're gone. Chat, they're gone. They're gone forever. I don't know what I'm going to do now, chat. They're gone. I don't, doesn't look right, does it? It looks wrong. It looks wrong, chat. It looks wrong, chat. No, it looks wrong. Put them back. Put them back on. Glue them on. They must, where'd they go, chat? Where'd they go? Did they fall on the floor? Are they on the floor? Are they wait. Okay. Oh, sorry, I just had a... Okay. So, chat, it's time. It is time for us to raid somebody. All right? I don't know who we're going to raid, but it's time. Thank you for all the donated subs. I promise to use them wisely. Promise to use them wisely. Probably going to pay off some debt and make my next month a little bit nicer. I'm so looking forward to coming back. We'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. Wait, who do we have that we can raid into? I might raid into Envy. I won't make you regret it, I promise. Envy is so cool. Yeah, we're gonna raid into Envy.
A whopping 2 damage. God, I'm so hurt. I'm so injured. How will I ever recover?
Be kind, be sweet.
Fuck. Damn, 2 damage? That's
Get eaten. Get eaten, chat. Eaten. Sorry.
I'm gonna stop playing around with it. No profanity? Yeah, no profanity. Hold on, I have an idea. Hold on.
We'll do this.
Yeah. Thumbing your toe causes more damage than a sack of rags.
There you go. There's the lucky raid. Or...
Hold on. Envy will speak in third person now.
if you don't have the emotes, you can grab them there. So copy the emotes. Mwah, 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 mwah. I'll see y'all later, okay? Be good. Behave yourselves. Miss you already. Bye. Mwah.